Hello, Assembly Scene Lounge. Are you there? Wave if you're there. Wonderful, and you can hear me. Wonderful. Okay, so we are starting the Let's Make a Demo coding workshop. And cool. Volume up, please. So that I want to see hands back there that you can hear me. If you can hear me, please raise your hand. You can hear me. If you cannot hear me, well, you can't do anything. Okay. So you can hear me now. Okay, now I'm also hearing my own. Okay, now you can hear me. I can hear myself. Very good. So, who is here to participate the workshop? Please raise your hands. I'm here to participate the workshop. Very nice, and you can hear me. Wonderful. And hello to everybody, also others who are not here for the workshop. Who am I? I'm first going to talk about this, and as I am a proper nerd, I hope I am a proper nerd, I will type my name in Google. So you will see my name here. I'm Paavo Nieminen. And then let's internet says about me. This kind of information about can be found, because most of it is in Finnish and explained in English. So I come from Jyväskylä, central Finland, from the university over there. And see, I also have the shirt on. It says JYU, University of Jyväskylä. Very nice, small university in the center of Finland. I'm a PhD. Okay, doesn't say much about graphics coding or knowledge about that, but trust me, I'm an expert. I know what I'm doing. An expert can guide you do anything like computer graphics. Some of the reasons why I'm here is because I like demo scene, and I have been on and off demo scene for some time, since the 90s. And for those of you who don't know what is demo scene, let's see what the internet knows about demo scene. You can do this by yourselves at home or in here. Type something, and you can find, for example, Wikipedia pages about demo scene. Very nice. So I'm not going to talk very much about demo scene, because you are here in the scene lounge, and there is a wonderful program here over the whole assembly event that shows you totally what demo scene is. So let's just focus on the fact that there are these competitions called demo competitions, which include and I've been doing this as a hobby. And at the moment, I'm sort of living the dream, because I can combine some of this with my work. Because in University of Jyväskylä, I teach computer science courses about some things. Sorry, it's in Finnish, but I can tell you what I teach. There are a couple of courses here, operating systems, fundamentals of Linux, Windows systems. Then another thing I'm teaching is fundamentals of computer graphics. So I know totally what I'm doing. I'm teaching this once a year in Jyväskylä. And I'm living the dream, because I'm able to do some demo scene stuff on the courses. Of course, it's computer graphics. So I'm going to make my window a little bit smaller, because I have a quite old laptop. I think you may have newer laptops, but my laptop is so old that I must develop with a smaller screen. But I think it's visible enough. I'll show you the first lecture of my course. Actually, the first minute and a half of my course. What you will see is a real-time animation running on the browser here. By the way, is the audio visible and available? You should hear some kind of blob, blob, blob. We need blob, blob, blob for the audio. Audio department, please. We need to hear blob, blob, blob. Blob, blob, blob should be Now you hear blah, blah. Very good, very good. OK, because now when I click here, we come to one another thing about demo scene. Sometimes we have competitions that are called intro competitions. There you have a space limit. And this is the magic why I personally love demo scene. I want to make small stuff that produces something interesting. So here's the minute and a half of my graphics course. Let's see and hear. Yeah. Of things like triangles and 3D graphics sort of stuff, and many objects like graph of scene. Not so nice without colors, but we have colors like red, green, and blue, and everything in between. We have perspective. It's all based on mathematics. The course is mostly about the mathematics and some computer stuff. Pain equals learning, or otherwise you lose. Something has to happen in order to win. So in here, we're going to be cool, and we're going to be smart and learn some computer graphics. Not my course, of course, but workshop. OK, so that's what makes me tick in the demo scene. This thing fits in 4 kilobytes. That's 4,096 very small numbers. But anyway, that's one thing. I'm going to show you a couple of more things I've done, because then it sort of makes my speech go forward. 4K is not a limit in these intro competitions. 1K is a smaller limit, only 1,024 bytes of executable code. So in the Scene Lounge program, they will be showing you, I think, legendary demos and intros from around the years. So they are much more beautiful than mine. But I'm just showing this because, I made these, and I'm very excited. And I want to teach you guys to start doing something similar. So let's go to Google once more and find one of my productions. It's called Fuzz Dealer. It was a couple of years ago in Assembly 1K competition. And by the way, Poet is a very nice site that archives all sorts of demo scene stuff. You'll learn about this in Assembly. But here we can click on the video not recorded. So this is my production in 1K. Still talking just about my own interests. The graphics is not very nice because back then I didn't teach the course of computer graphics. I have learned a lot after that. Nowadays I'm making much better graphics. But in here it's quite dull. But listen to the synthesizer. I made the synthesizer. It fits in there, and it kicks ass. We need audio. Yeah, in here the graphics is just a little bit of something that fits in 100 characters of code. But it shows you sort of something visual. And in here in the workshop, we cannot do Oscar-winning computer graphics for movies here. We take with you the first step towards doing something interesting on screen, created by you. So we can start with something dull like this. Let's see what happens in the workshop. But anyway, this is a very, very nice hobby. If you get bitten by the bug, maybe in a couple of years you will be shaving off bytes from 4K, 1K intros. Maybe. I hope the audio is a little bit louder on the audience side, because We're entering the finale of the song. Yeah. Yeah, it was 7th place in the competition, so I'm trying to improve on that. Yeah. So that kind of stuff. Let's go back. Okay. And don't be frightened. This is the last thing I'm going to show you about my own product, source code of this thing you saw. Don't worry, there will be a couple of steps towards the tools that we're going to use in this workshop. But let's see what is possible to learn, for example, in University of Jyväskylä, Faculty of Information Technology. What I really love is to make a Linux executable file byte by byte, just by hand. Here, the file begins with a couple of numbers, and everything fits in their own spot, and then you get graphics and sound. I just love it. I hope you get bitten by a programming bug. Also, last thing I show, it's this is the bytes, and now you can also see how heavy they are in bits. And some people like Sudoku. I like a Sudoku of a couple of thousand numbers, so that it fits perfectly in 1024 of them. It's not much, as you can see. That is everything that you just saw. I just love these computers. Okay, that much about that. That was the last code I was going to show you. And then now we're approaching more closely why this workshop is happening. And I will show you, one more of my own productions. This is the latest one that was in a demo party. This was in Instanssi. Wait a minute, I changed my shirt for just a second. I used to represent University of Jyväskylä. Now I momentarily represent Instanssi demo party that happens in Jyväskylä, arranged by our students. And this is my entry to 4K in last Instanssi. There's a little bit more interesting graphics, all aim to create magical graphics. But this is something very doable also in this workshop by any of you with our help. Yeah? Okay, this kind of stuff, you know. And more about demos will be shown here in the lounge, and you can find stuff in Poet. But yeah, reason for this workshop here is that in Instanssi this year, actually, I gave a programming workshop to make these 4K things. And in that workshop, one got sick, and all the other participants got a 4K intro in the competition of Instanssi. So you're in good hands. You will get a production in the competition here in Assembly. And let's market a little bit. Instanssi will happen next year as well. 10th of those, and this can also be translated actually. But you will find the webpage instanssi.org, and you're most welcome. And the idea of Instanssi is to be beginner friendly. So maybe the next step after this workshop, next demo party, real demo party, but for beginners. You make an entry in Instanssi maybe next year. Okay, so I gave a workshop there by myself, but this year, or here in Assembly, we decided to do a little bit differently by using another tool. not browser-based JavaScript like my entry here and the workshop back in Instancy. We're going to use a tool called processing. Now it's time for some exercise. Of the workshop participants, you were told to install processing. How many of you have installed processing to your computer? Okay, everybody gets exercise. How many of you have not installed processing or it doesn't work yet? Okay, don't worry, we are prepared to help you with that. Our goal of today is to get processing working for everybody. Start doing stuff. Anyway, our tool today is processing, and here's the web page of processing. Also, while you have downloaded and tested the processing, you will also have found all these tutorial videos. They are perfect. I've watched some of those. You will learn programming from them, but in here, we boost this by being present here. Hand to hand, we give you instructions and help. And now, we come to the next point. I'm a PhD, yes, I'm an expert. But I have never used processing. I installed processing and I tested it once. It seems to work, but I have never done anything with processing. Maybe during this talk I will do a little bit of processing. I will try. I will try right now, actually. Because I will show you how processing looks. For those guys who haven't yet got it working, what you should be seeing is, of course, first the splash screen and then your IDE. So I'm a little bit nervous. Always you have to be a little bit nervous, otherwise nothing works. I'm a little bit nervous about teaching you guys processing. But I'm quite sure I can do that because it's programming, it's graphics. I know it. It's just a tool. And I'm happy about the tool. It seems to be very, very easy for beginners. So this is what processing should look like. There's this thing here. You can enter text. It will be programming, but we will be learning programming during this thing. If you haven't programmed anything before, that's no problem. You will be programming first time here. If you have done programming, then okay, let's make you one step better in programming. And there are some examples, actually a load of examples. So I'll just briefly show you one example program. Sorry, I have to look at the menu. It's over there on the. There should be. There was a very, very good short introduction, but as you can see, there are loads of examples. And the idea is if you get bitten by the bug today, you will have a very nice night and morning tomorrow looking through all these examples. There's a little bit of problem here because if I pick a wrong one, it is so sophisticated that my computer will hang right there because it's so old. So I'm looking for the Bezier curve. Oh, it was here under forms. Bezier, this one. I tried this before, and it's a simple one, and shows you the very simple thing that is the first thing we want you to, for example, pick up, understand, change a little bit, make it your own, and perhaps enter in competition. So that's a very good way of doing stuff is by example. I can't make the font bigger, sorry. Anyway, it's a computer program, quite small. It fits on the screen over there. Everything is there. Then we execute it by pressing play, and then okay, it appears on my other screen. Sorry, here. That small code here on the left makes these curvy lines on the right. And look, It's interactive. And in demo scene, usually we make an animation that is based on time. So instead of this mouse moving around, there will be time, seconds from 0 to end of your demo. Let's say 60 seconds. Then you synchronize to the sound, to the time. Sound, I mentioned sound. We are prepared to give you instructions also on how to make a small beat of your own, then integrate and synchronize your graphics to your thing. Wow. I'm like, wow, we're going to do very cool stuff. Yeah. Then that much about the demo. This is the third time I'm programming anything with processing, but I'm going to do it for you. A little bit of live coding in processing, because I know already that setup just makes the screen some size and then sets something what the lines should look like. Then on every frame, 50 times a second or 20 on my computer, it will draw first background and then whatever I want. This is the first thing also in processing tutorial. Rectangle, like a square or rectangular shape. Let's put it in some position on the screen. We will talk to you about this when we start the workshop. Let's make it something like a little bit of high but more wide. The rectangle. And then, like the guy says in processing tutorial, always end the line with semicolon. Then it works. Otherwise, it doesn't work. This is programming. We teach you. It's not a problem. Just remember the semicolon. OK, let's run it now. It appears here. OK. Wow. Now, I changed it. I made it my own. Creative coding. I can do processing, and I know the math and all behind this, so I'm prepared to help you. But here comes the point. I'm no expert, really, on processing. But the cool thing is that as an expert, I also have a network of experts. And while planning this workshop, I was pointed towards this Graphathon. I show you the webpage of Graphathon. What is Graphathon? This is Graphathon. It is another workshop, a little bit bigger than this one here. We have 9 hours. In Graphathon, there are 3 whole days of processing. And there are very good processing experts in Graphathon. And we have here 3 of them. And today, 2 of them are present. So please, I welcome my fellow experts who are the real experts. Introduce yourselves, Mika and Bjarke.
Yes. Hello. My name is Waffle, and I have approximately like 20 years experience of demo scene. And let's say to be honest, processing isn't my core subject, but I have a lot of experience in graphics programming. I do approximately like 10 demos a year or so, and so I basically can take a turd and polish it to be a bit nicer looking turd. And I can help you to do that as well.
Hello. Is it? Yep. Hello. I'm called Bjarke. I have participated in like I think 5 or more graphathons. At this point, last year I also helped there. I have been using processing for like 5 to 6 years by now, and I also code Java as my like day-to-day job. So I do that 7.5 hours per day. So, and processing is pretty much Java, so I can help a lot with that. Yeah, I guess I can also give a lot of practical tips and such that big technical details, and also good at tips at speaking rally English.
Yeah, very nice. I think you guys can stay on the stage because let me check my outline. I can show my speech outline. My trademark is I never have slides for lectures. I just, We are here in the last point. Everything went perfectly. I'm so happy at this point. Not nervous anymore. Time for questions and possible answers. So raise your hand if you have a question at this point. Okay, if there are no questions, let me briefly outline also what will happen in the workshop from now on. Like I told you today, the most important thing is to get tools installed and one. Graphics is number one here. But also, we have a very nice set of music synchronization programs that we can try to install here with help so that it's possible to make a full package. Tomorrow, it's time to design and see what's possible in your own production. And then on Saturday, we'll help you to make sure that your own entry is in the compo system for the competition. There's a question, and we need a microphone to the audience. Please, somebody mic to the one who has question. Okay, we can. Yeah. Yeah, but okay. Please stay here.
I wanted to ask if it is possible to use something other than processing ID with processing.
Like, depends on your experience. Depends on your experience if it's possible to use. Or you mean here in workshop?
Are there tools available to use it? Well, I mean, I'm a Vim user, so.
Okay, so do you mean tools for the workshop here or tools overall?
No, I mean to compile and run processing without a processing ID.
Ah, okay, yeah, okay. For running, I think the processing experts have very good answer. I would have had also, but please explain.
Can you repeat, since I missed half of the question?
Yeah, if I understood the question, it was if I make with processing something, then is it possible to run it without the processing, without the IDE of the processing? Yes, the question is if you can run processing stuff without the IDE of processing.
Yeah, you can export it. I'm not exactly sure how we do the combo submitting, but at least like on Windows, you can export it as such that it runs as Python.exe file.
Click File, click Export Application.
Yes.
And then so on.
Okay, that's not what I meant. I meant that
text
usually,
editor, not the IDE. So the question is if you can code with.
Can I compile it with something?
Yes.
Is there a compiler or run time?
Well, in practice, that thing saves as PDE file, and to my knowledge, it's only a text file. So I would say yes. However, to run it, I would then maybe copy and paste the text to processing. Like real answers, yes, you can do other stuff. However, I would say it's most likely outside of the scope of this workshop. But for example, I have previously used processing as like Java library and used like Eclipse to make it then. But then it is like a Java program and not like processing program. I'm not sure. This is completely like improvised, but if you check tools, there might be or maybe the Java combo box in the right corner.
This one?
Yes. And click Add Mode. There might be some alternative ways. However, I'm not sure. Maybe the tools have, but I would say in the context of this workshop, I would say you have to use processing. At least it's the most easiest way to us to help you. But I will, of course, like do my best. But I would sort of expect that.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Did we finally understand the question?
Well, you did.
Okay, very good. Yeah. More questions? Yeah. Yes. Okay, I forgot. Oh, no, I didn't forget. It's coming here. Ultimate goal. It's the one effect competition. So in which this workshop should end up is that all of you will one effect competition of Assembly Scene Lounge. So let's put it here. The Scene Lounge program. Oh, what a fine program it is. And started here. We are now here, and let's make a demo. And the goal is to enter the one effect competition. And the rules will be found here in the Scene Lounge page. And we have time to discuss this and make sure your entry is valid. So in the end, everybody will have their own 60 seconds of graphics, possibly audio, something fun created by you with our help. That concludes my part of the presentation.
Can I give some tips at this point? Or
you can.
Well, in practice, I'm not sure how to do this exactly. Well, at least you can like be there and raise your hand if you have a question. I will be walking around there. You can find me with this hat. You can also ask me otherwise in other times. I recommend you try to do something very basic at the start, like some cube, or maybe even just try to do something 2D first, like some rectangle moving. Then have something you can submit. Then when you have that, you can always improve that later. Also,
that's always good.
Also, like if you know some version control system like Git, please use that. If you don't, then well, it might be more than you can learn at this time. But at least make backups of your project and keep multiple ones. And then when you finally submit your entry, remember to check that it is the final one. Also, I have like tons of other tips, but I'm not sure. Should I? Well, okay.
Yeah,
you
and
can
also your tips will be found in the end of these slides. That
was slides of a talk I gave at Graphathon for processing use. So also there's can you show the reference of?
Oh,
since I think you missed that, but since that
the reference of processing, you mean?
Also the
one
libraries.
thing I forgot about what I wanted to say is that. As a PhD in computer science, I first look at the first tutorial and then find where it says reference, and then I click on reference, and then okay, wow, I can do this and this, and then okay, how do I make a three-dimensional box? I click here on box. It will tell me how to make a three-dimensional box, what to do, and that's also, by the way, the stuff that we teach you to do if you come to study in our university. Please visit our sponsor booth. We are here paying a lot of money that you get this event. So we're sponsoring this, and we have a booth with real-life students talking about studies in University of Jyväskylä. Aalto University, also a nice place, where you come from. But you aren't sponsoring here, so we got here. Yeah.
Well, I think that's about like one thing. I guess this is like no intended to be anything negative, but if you have a problem, try to solve it at least for like 1 minute yourself, if possible. Like look at the references, maybe Google it, something like it's somewhat sort of the idea that you learn how to do these things yourself. We are here to help, of course, but if you cannot figure it out in like 1 minute, then raise your hand and ask. Or you can also ask like your neighbor in the table or anyone else. Like I think most of the guys and people here are like know stuff or know someone else to ask. There's a question. I improvise.
Is it okay to make the coding in pairs?
Pair coding is possible, of course, of course.
Anything else? Wow, I think that's end of the talk part.
Yeah.
I think.
Your attention workshop will begin right now, actually.